So I've been recently playing a lot of Sifu this past week, and I thought I'd make a quick short video on giving you some tips and tricks and more explanation that the game never really gives on how the progression, save state, and some of the roguelike elements work. So you can play smarter and more efficiently, and maybe not better if you don't have the twitch reflexes like I no longer have since I'm pretty old, but if I can do it, anybody can do it. I beat this game twice now, once the regular ending and then once the quote unquote good ending, which I just did. Just a quick spoiler warning, I'm not going to be showing any gameplay really that much or anything from the story, just a little bit talk about some tips on how to get the different endings and showing the investigation board, but that's about it. So first, let's talk about the roguelike kind of progression state mechanics of this game that aren't entirely obvious. I'm not going to go over the things that you probably already know about the death mechanic and the aging and the death counter. That's pretty basic stuff that's pretty self-explanatory. What is not so clear is what's actually saved, when it's saved, what is persisted between each run. So basically, as you complete a level, it's always going to take a snapshot and save the earliest age completion. So if you complete a level, let's say age 25, and you come back and recomplete it at 24, anything below 25, basically, it's going to save that age, and it's plus going to save any of the shrine bonuses that you have unlocked during that run. Now, the other thing they don't really explain is when you're going for that second completion, or maybe even your first, and you want to spare and mercy all the bosses, which you can see I actually did, so I'm quite proud of myself that I was actually able to accomplish this. But once you spare all the bosses, and you can tell that they have, instead of an X, they have a circle and a character next to each of the bosses, so you can keep track of it that way. But yeah, what they don't explain is that basically this is kind of a global save and it doesn't matter and it's not impacted by any of the other save states. So once you mercy a boss, it's saved permanently, immediately, and it stays that way forever. So if you go back and replay a level and you kill the boss instead, or even if you do worse or better on the age when you complete it, it doesn't really matter. It's going to remember the state that you spared that boss, so you don't have to worry about that. Once you've checked that off, it's permanently checked, which is great. Now, as far as how the skill tree unlocks work, it's pretty obvious. You probably already know that you have to spend XP to unlock a skill, and but then you have to subsequently unlock it, the same skill over and over again until you do it 5 more times, and then you get a permanent unlock and it stays unlocked forever. Now, what's not clear is that you have to spend the XP to do that initial unlock when you're doing a new run, and then you can get access to dropping this multiplier. Now, this multiplier is actually saved permanently. So if you unlock it and then you spend it for another 500 XP, let's say on this skill, double palm focus, and you bring it down to 4x, that 4x is now permanent. Even on a new run, it'll stay at 4x, but you still have to spend the initial 500 XP to get that initial unlock going. And then the subsequent unlocks will actually lower this multiplier until you get the permanent unlock. Now, as far as tips on the clearing it the second time or clearing it with a good ending with mercy and sparing all the bosses, of course, you got to learn a bit of parry, but for the most part, I played most of the bosses like normal. The main thing I found that was really helpful that you want to unlock pretty early, I think, is raining strikes. So what I noticed that Raining Strike seems to do quite a bit of damage to the boss's structure and less to their health, which is what you want. So usually if you just fight a boss like normal and you use Raining Strikes whenever you can, which is just hitting Y and then hitting Y again once the animation is almost done for your heavy attack, that will do Raining Strikes and you get several of those in, you'll usually be able to break their structure before killing them. Now, usually you do have to throw in a few parries near the end, especially when you're trying to break that second structure. So I like to often pair raining strikes with the eye jab focus attack, and that seems to work really well, better than the strong sweep, which is when you're going for more damage, but in this case, you're trying to break that structure. So I would not use the strong sweep focus on your mercy run. So this brings me to the three kinds of runs I typically do. The first is your regular progression run. Here you're just trying to unlock shortcuts to to get as much progress as possible. You're not really worried too much about dying a lot. You don't really worry about preserving XP for skill unlocks. If you need to reset your death counter, go ahead and do that, but you want to get that shortcut unlock. The next kind of run is the perfection run, and this is where you try to complete the level with the least amount of deaths. So you want to finish as early of an age as possible. Here you want to be very careful about your shrine unlock. So spend that XP if you want to get certain upgrades at the shrine that you want to carry through to the end of the game. So long-term shrine unlocks, this is what's going to be persistent saved at the end of the run. So keep that in mind. And then the final kind of run would be an XP grind skill unlock run. And here I would usually skip shortcuts, replay earlier levels that are easier, just fight a bunch of enemies, gain a lot of XP, and you're just going for permanent skill unlocks. And that's all you're really worried about. As you can see, I made it all the way to the final level at age 25, which helped a lot because that second phase last boss I still struggle with. I think I finished it the second time at age 47 with the Mercy. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found some useful information here that I just didn't see all in a single video like in any other video or written article. So I hope this helped you out. If you liked it, please subscribe and like. And if you'd like to see more content like this, just please leave a comment. I'll see you in the next one.